Hey there, Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. We hope you liked that last episode. We were actually planning on doing a whole bunch of episodes with that horrible wretch, the Fiend, but as it turned out, it was such comic gold in the one episode we wanted to bring Bill back in. Took off half the costume because it's like
behind the scenes episode of Comic Book Geezers. How are you, gang?
It's like 100 degrees in here.
I wanted to let you know that it really was me in the makeup. That was the Fiend, and I hope you liked it. We wanted to bring out that character. As I've mentioned to the crowd before that I do impressions, and the Fiend is one of my impressions. And too hot, too sweaty. Couldn't have did 5 episodes. I thought the first one was good enough, and I said to Pete, I went through all this effort to go through the makeup. Why don't we do a behind the scenes?
We're not saying he won't appear again at some point.
Yeah, that's up to you guys.
Yeah.
That's going to come up to you guys. If you like the Fiend, I wanted to throw it out there. It's a character that I invented, created from comic books. It was basically my tribute.
Almost 30 years ago, right?
At least. Well, I came up with the voice in the late 80s.
Yep.
And, like a musician plays their instrument. Pete's a guitarist. He plays guitar. I play with my voice sometimes, and I started doing like an evil voice and experimenting with it. And it was and it was all comic book inspired. It was all revolving around thinking about supervillains, and it was all from Spider-Man basically and Iron Man. And what they all did was, Marvel Comics had the MO, the villain would fester his evil plans. I shall get you. When the moment arrives. How many times have you read When the Moment Arrives? Right? My plan, when things are falling into place. So basically, it's a character that festers, but I had to put a spin on him that he lost his power when he came to Earth. The Fiend is alien. What happened was I had the voice. It was basically, break it down in simple terms, it was just an evil hiss. So I came up with the line, within moments, world domination shall be mine, and nothing can stop me. Not even that wall-crawling menace called Spider-Man will be able to save the puny, wretched surface dwellers from my plans. So it was basically that, and I kept it to myself. I kept it in the closet for at least 3 years. This guy did not know about this character that I was kicking around and fooling around and playing with. I knew that it sounded a lot like the skeleton from Tales from the Crypt at the time, but my character was different in what he was saying and what he had on his mind. So about 3 years later at a party with our buddy Kirk and Steve and the big guy Steve, who had a video camera, who had shutterbug fever in the worst case. Everybody goes through that when they buy a new camera. These are the old VCR cartridge cameras.
And so early 90s we're talking about.
91. Yeah. And the party was in Kirk's house, and everyone was drifting around in the house on the ground floor. The keg was in the tub in the bathroom. And I was in the living room alone with Kirk's old dog, this beagle, nice dog. I was petting it, and then big guy Steve walked in with his video camera and sat down next to me on my left, and I saw the red light pop on, and I was like, oh shit, he's taping me. And I was like, all right, and I had a few beers in me, man. I just got my courage and let out this Fiend voice, these lines, and I took the dog's lips and I moved his lips like it was the dog speaking. Within moments, world domination shall be mine, and nothing can stop me. And that was it. And big guys finished taping, got up, walked out, never said a word to anybody. God bless him. And then he shot the rest of the party that night. He had like 4 hours of footage, and about 2 weeks later we had another get-together. Pete and I think we were at your girlfriend's house at the time, and a few other friends, and he popped the tape, and the big guy brought the tape, and there were like 4 or 5 conversations going on in the room that night as we were eating and drinking, and about 2 hours into the video, my part came up. And
nobody had seen it.
Nobody had seen it. Nobody knew what it was. And nobody listened to it the first time they heard, world domination shall be mine. They were like, after it finished, they were like, what? Then they listened after it was over. It was like, what was that? So they went over to the tape, the VCR, and stopped it, and rewound it, and you played it again, and what? You listened carefully, and you guys started laughing.
Yep.
And then they stopped it, and were like, what the hell is that? And then they rewound it, and played it again, and the more they played it, the harder they laughed, and it evolved into this. It became an inside joke. My friends wound up loving it, the character, and then they would try talking like him, and then I had to evolve it and it has evolved into this costume.
Yeah, so, and eventually he wrote like a script, like a story.
Yes.
Like a storyboard thing. And
we shot some of it
we
in
actually
93.
decided to film a movie. We didn't get too far, unfortunately.
It was a big, like this today, it was such a major production just to do this makeup. And, it's so much involved. And, we spent about 3 hours on a flashback scene from my script. There was a part in the story where he is talking about how he had tried to blend in with society because the Fiend is not human and he basically wants to take over the Earth, strip the planet of its resources. Three things in mind for the human race: either kill them, enslave them, or eat them, harvest them for food. That's what he does. He's kind of like Galactus in a way, that he goes around conquering worlds and lays them to waste, and everything is ruined in his wake. And that's kind of what the Fiend is all about. So we wanted to finally bring it out, and because Comic Book Geezers, the Fiend was truly comic book inspired, we will post maybe some photos of the Fiend up on our Comic Book Geezers Facebook page.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've done that already, but if you guys like the Fiend, let us know, because I hope you do. I have a particular love. It is my favorite original impression that I've done. And like Pete says, I do have a script sitting in my closet. So we gotta turn this into a movie someday.
Someday, before we get too old and we have no
If not, I'll have to direct some youngling, some youngster actor.
We tried. We were feeling.
We shot for like 3 hours for what could conceivably been used as like 30 seconds or a minute at tops, and it was like, damn, this is what you got to take to make a movie. And our buddy Steve, who was involved in those clips, he was like the director in a sense, because he had the experience of making movies growing up with his brother and his dad. So we relied on his skills, our buddy Steve Flick. So
and it was a cool flashback scene. So basically, it was the flashback scene was when the Fiend was kind of living amongst men.
He tried to blend in with the scientific community.
And it wasn't working.
With his outrageous.
Steve and I played scientists who basically were scoffing at him and saying,
rejecting him as they were literally kicking him out of the building.
Yeah. So in the story, you know who's going to be getting it pretty bad, right?
Yeah.
Me and Steve, because that's the first people he's probably going to go after. But we had planned to do it. It just
of course, without makeup, when we were doing the Fiend, as time moved on with the impression, as my friends would constantly mock me and try to do the Fiend, I started to incorporate the hand. This is he's always holding his hand. When I bought these clothes, I don't think they gave you 10 or I lost 2, but I improvised with the thumbnail to make it gross,
He's got plants growing on him, too.
I have a chin prosthetic, which wouldn't stay on for our shoot, which really disappointed me, so I had to go with a green chin. This makeup was going to be a pain in the ass to get off.
And the Fiend has made some appearances over the years on a couple Halloweens, and each time the appearance a little bit different. He's like experimented with it. Yeah. I like the one year we had the really long white hair. That
had no makeup. That wig, unfortunately, would shed. I had to get rid of it. It was cheap. I think I paid like a $1 or $2 for it at a dollar store or something for a Halloween rack. But that was really long hair. Yeah, like down in my middle of my back.
Yeah, that was
a kind of creepy. I got to dig out those shots. So maybe if you have some of those, you can post them.
I have them. Yeah,
I don't think I know half of those.
So in addition to the background of the Fiend, we also want to do a Chamber of Chills show here. So since Bill has got all sorts of crap all over his hands, I'll do the show and Bill can add his commentary.
I can add my comments.
So here we have another kind of reprint horror series that started in the early 70s called Chamber of Chills. I would have started about 72,
73. Yeah, because it's 27. It's probably 73.
Yeah, probably 73. So
and I have shown some of these off in our previous horror comic book episodes.
Here's number one. A lot of these stories are from the 50s and 60s. So there's
some
old stuff in here. And as I was telling Bill when I walked in today, some of these covers have like absolutely nothing to do with what's on the inside. Like this particular one here, this dragon on the cover, say dragon stalks by night. There ain't no dragon in the story at all. And I'm like, holy...
Just like the Vault of Evil.
Yeah,
excellent covers, though, man.
Yeah, and then you read the site, you're like, where's that story? I'm like, what? You can tell me. You're like, totally gypped. Issue number 2. Okay. Again, great covers. These horror books are just
I mean, that's what they're all about, man. The covers.
Yeah. Well, let me just,
stories are kind of hokey, but they're still got that evil...
This is actually cool. This
cover touch. This is one of my first issues that I bought.
This is a good one.
3 or 4 at a flea market. Yeah.
And this one, the cover is exactly what happens in the book. So
yes,
again, it's
this is a great story. And this book we showed off in one of our episodes. I talked about the story in that one about how he breaks a hole in a wall to go let this spirit out, and then he traps him in there.
Back in the hole, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bait and switch story.
Based on an Edgar Allan Poe story. So here we've got issue number 6.
This one I don't have, but that's a great cover. I like that.
And this is another one where the cover kind of throws you off, and it's not really like this.
No.
No, not at all. He's not an evil anything on the inside. He's actually a pretty lovable little kind of swamp.
Yeah, you got number 7.
And number 7, werewolf story. Again, another one. You think, oh, cool, I love werewolf stories, and then the werewolf shows up like in the very last panel.
My nose, giving off the profile. Should I go get the chin and show him?
Go ahead. I'll show off the books. Go ahead. I think it's in the bed.
It's in my room. Right?
All right, so here we have issue number 8. This is from Bill's collection. This is a great cover. This one's in great shape too. All right, nothing is worse as a chained skeleton in the dungeon, right?
See, viewers, this is the thing about makeup. You know, this was the chin that I had. Okay, if I showed a profile, how is it?
Yep.
Are my fingers
It's
getting away?
like a cucumber. Yeah.
So cucumber.
Looks like a half a cucumber on the bottom of your chin. Yeah, but it looked great. But
it just wouldn't stay
with the heat and the tape and the makeup and the sweat.
So I just had to paint it. But you know what? Maybe next time we're gonna make a little chin strap.
Yeah, that's the way.
And hold it up there. See, this is the thing you have to go through when you're making movies, and you don't know about this stuff till you actually cross the bridge. You know, but I think I was really disappointed that I couldn't get the chin to stay. Stay. So that's that, gang. That's the chin.
That's the chin. Here we
Keep
go.
your chin on.
Keep your chin up. Keep
your chin on, Wild Bill.
Another one where the cover has nothing to do with the storyline.
I thought there was a maze in there somewhere.
It's like the last panel. It's got a maze, and there's no creature like this there. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Whatever.
Number 8. Did you show my number 8?
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
That's one of the best covers. With
the
skeleton.
That was also one of my first finds. When I think I bought like 4 issues the first time at the flea market. That number 8 is a classic cover.
It's another good cover.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't have it.
I always like
this one is mine.
Yep. Easter Island, which I believe
we've talked about this story.
From before.
They're aliens stuck in the ground.
I know, right?
And their heads are just sticking out. They're from another planet.
Another kind of cool cover.
Yes.
Here we go.
Keeping the spirit of the fiend.
The 4 armed men are coming.
Gonna be a bitch to get off, dude.
I think it'll be all right.
Hope so. I'm gonna look like a freak. I think this is before I go back to work.
The Gorilla Man.
Ha! Nice.
And then we got a couple.
I like the witch's nose, man. At least that stays on, man. You know.
Here we got Moomba.
The witch, Wicked Witch of the West. Impressions. Yeah, I do a lot of them, but nobody cares. It's all right.
As long as you enjoy it.
I got a knack, yes.
Yep.
So that wraps up this episode of the Origin of the Fiend and Chamber of Chills horror comic books. I'm Wild Bill saying thanks for watching. We need to know if you guys are a fan of the Fiend. I don't know if we won you over with that. And if you like it, maybe we should have the Fiend back as a regular co-host for horror comic book episodes, because I wanted to bang out like 6 episodes of horror comics. We did 2.
Cool. Preferably at a time when he's not wanting to take over the world and hold people hostage, right?
Yeah. That was out of character. The Fiend never held anybody hostage. He pretty just lays everyone to waste.
I had to play that entire episode totally straight and trying to act in character there.
Yes.
So, it was fun. I enjoyed doing stuff like that.
It was cool. So
the original plan, guys, was we were going to do like 4 episodes of that. And we were going to progress the whole story.
Tell them what your thoughts were when you first saw the character on that videotape that night at that party, when you first saw him and heard that voice, and you knew you never heard me do it before. It was
but I was
like, what the hell?
But I knew how much you liked kind of evil comic book characters, and we were all into horror stuff. And
it
was like
it fit.
Yeah, it did, and it manifested itself for like almost 30 years. So it's like a long time coming.
So he's been happy to do this production, and finally, this is this what we shot today is better than what we did in '93.
Yeah,
so I'm proud of what we did today. So
we didn't get to do enough with that. No. But we still go watch that couple minutes of footage, because that's really all that exists. But
well, we'd like to bring it to you again. If you're interested, let me know. I'm Wild Bill saying peace and thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
All right, and I'm Pete from the Sweatbox. We'll see you again real soon.
Yeah.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.
Feel the heat, baby.